Hi there. Huge news coming out again. HBO just announced that they have officially canceled the Long Night prequel to Game of Thrones. And this is just earlier today. Then a few hours later, just 10 minutes ago, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, word came out that they have greenlit a different prequel based on the Dance of the Dragons. Not just greenlit a pilot, they greenlit it straight to series. It's going to be called House of the Dragon. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. So right now I want to focus on that they dropped the Long Night prequel. It's over. Not a lot of news coming out yet. This is a developing story. We're still trying to see what happened. But I've been saying for over a year, since July 2018, this will be a disaster. And for four main reasons: that it isn't based on anything George R.R. Martin wrote. There isn't a novella, prequel novella about it. He never intended this to be a prequel setting, that it's a rehash of the White Walker storyline. Most major locations that we knew of don't exist then. Like King's Landing doesn't exist. The Wall doesn't exist yet. So it manages to both be a retread and have nothing new in it. It's all primeval forest. It's not even, well, it's set on a different continent we haven't seen before. It's both unfamiliar and nothing new. It's just forest. And there aren't even that many characters from this era, nor are they interlinking stories that Bran the Builder Stark and Lan the Clever, the founder of House Lannister, they don't interact. There aren't stories of them interacting with each other. And if this show wanted to do that, they'd have to invent them. And we've seen how they fare when they're going off of Martin's books, just hiring whoever to make up a story that manages to shoehorn all these characters together. And those are just the problems we knew about. That look at Westeros.org's reaction to it when that announcement came out. They put out a video saying this is possibly the worst idea you could come up with, the Long Night. That it really felt like you are just intentionally trying to make a retread of the original series to latch on to casual fans who know the names Stark, Lannister, and White Walkers, just to play into the hype. Remember, they picked this in the gap between seasons 7 and 8. And all they told us about it, how much hype there was then, and all they told us about it was, oh, Naomi Watts is starring in it. And this is part of the old HBO pattern of pandering to A-list celebrities. That, well, here's the leads in it. Well, what's the story? Well, he's not working at HBO anymore. Richard Plepler and the old leadership are out, and AT&T is taking over, and they're actually going to run it like sane people. The Long Night prequel was the last sick joke that Plepler played on all of us. That Richard Plepler is the old boys network of these elites. That Benioff got his job because his rich banker father, who used to be the head of Goldman Sachs, was a personal friend of the head of HBO. That's why they kept giving him second chances, even though he's totally incompetent. That Plepler probably just picked this based on, what he thought would be cool for the casual audiences and hype, rather than, and it's not even in his own interest that, well, yeah, you heard the pitch about the Long Night without bothering to sit down and go, it doesn't have source material, the setting is problematic for a couple of reasons that we don't know much about it, and it cheated by doing that. That when you actually pick apart the other prequel pitches, they were better ideas. That no one who knew what they were talking about would want this. There are two new pieces of information in the reports coming out, and they're vague, but it's the way they don't draw attention to this is something new. But when a reporter in Deadline or TV Line is saying, oh, these are things I heard from sources, which I know they can't name them, that they're trying to downplay, look, someone came to me and told me the production was a nightmare. That sort of thing. So they didn't draw attention to, I heard these reports. They mention it as if they've already talked about it, that no, this is the first I'm hearing this. Well, it was first announced in Deadline, and the quote that struck me that no, we were never told this, is it says there was lengthy post-production, which included re-editing of the initial cut after it was not well received, and rumors about issues during filming in Northern Ireland. That's the first I'm hearing of issues during filming, whatever that means. that if you've been following my channel, I was doing reports on this, that George R.R. Martin announced publicly that he expected to see a rough cut of the pilot in mid-September. And we heard nothing about it, but what we did hear was, suspiciously, we started hearing these semi-official rumblings, which Martin confirmed then, that yes, a Dance of the Dragons prequel pilot is coming closer to a green light. Like a week after he had said he was about to see the rough cut of the Long Night pilot, which everyone was saying this really makes it look like the Long Night pilot is in trouble. Then Martin made in his blog post saying the second one is close to greenlighting. He did say, some people are speculating this means the Long Night pilot is in trouble. If it is, no one has told me. I think that was him being polite. That at the time we worried, oh geez, did they see the rough cut pilot in mid-September? It looks like they did. And what happened was that they spent the past month until, late October now, frantically recutting it and re-editing it, trying to make a quick fix that there's only so much you can fix in editing. And unlike, well, I do kind of sympathize that while I don't know if this is Jane Goldman's fault or if it was due to network meddling, that a lot of this is stuff Plepler told her to do. We may never know, well, who screwed up this idea. We don't know whose idea was which thing specifically. But I do feel bad that people are talking about in the news that, just how much Benioff was given so many second chances because he's a rich white man, the son of a rich white man, and the discussions of privilege that, you're not giving Jane Goldman a second chance. Though I think they kind of did with the recut, and also there's a ticking clock that we need a prequel out sooner instead of later to maintain momentum. They did get a second try of sorts recutting it, but on the other hand, it was such an inherently stupid idea, I don't think they should have gotten a second chance, just with those four core problems that, unless you rewrote it from scratch with a new writer, you couldn't fix what they were trying to do. That just the very idea of a Long Night prequel, knowing nothing else about it, was enough for Westeros.org to disown it. That in this context, you shouldn't have given a second chance. It was a dumb idea to begin with. The second thing was by Mike Ozziello over at TV Line, that he said that according to multiple insiders, he doesn't want to draw attention to, someone leaked this to me, he said, let it slip in the article that according to multiple insiders, the pilot was, quote, troubled from the start, marred by budget overruns, numerous personnel issues, and myriad creative differences. That could refer to a couple of things, I'm not really sure, but those are the new things we're hearing now. That everyone's acting like everything's great, Naomi Watts will go on late-night TV shows and go, hey, I'm the new star of the prequel, why aren't you praising me? Because you haven't told us a damn thing about what it is or who you're playing. It just, that's how they were running the later TV seasons of, hey, aren't you excited for Maisie Williams? Well, no, this is just hype. And the only reason they were treating this in public is, I've talked about this, the back and forth of HBO is hyping this as the prequel. The only thing it had going for it is that they lied and said, well, this is the prequel, and Martin was passive-aggressively saying it's one of several ideas they are considering. There are 5 pitches in all. And no, they didn't drop the other 4. They said, as late as last month, that there's 3 ideas left, which we're pretty sure were Long Night, it turns out Dance of the Dragons, and the third one is probably the Doom of Valyria prequel, Empire of Ash. All I'll say on that is, this is good news for Empire of Ash, because it means that Long Night was in the number 1 slot, and Dance of the Dragons was number 2. With Long Night out, Dance goes to the number 1 spot, and Valyria goes to number 2. And AT&T has said, we might be willing to run 2 shows at once, at different times of year. And Martin himself, in his blog post, which I covered in my other video, has said they might be willing to do 2 shows at once, and I have these 3 pilot ideas that are still out. So this is good news for Empire of Ash. It means the big competition is out of the way, and I think they are the runner-up behind Dance. And rightly so, Dance has a lot more printed material on it. The Valyria is more based on World of Ice and Fire. So good news there that we'll see that sooner instead of later. They'll be patient on that. For all I know, I could open up Twitter again after I make this, and in an hour they'll report, hey, we're making Empire of Ash 2. Things are really in flux now. This has been one hell of a week. I promised everyone that if and when Long Night gets canceled, I will explain the leak I heard about what is horrifically wrong with it beyond what we assumed was wrong with it, which is that the way they shoehorned black people into it is cartoonishly racist.